mentioning or noticing last week about how we ask for things of the universe and through our prayers, and then are we really paying attention to what we're receiving? And last week I got pretty hard on myself about making a decision to buy an online platform for like a new website sort of source for videos and such. And I thought, oh, Cindy, you made a wrong choice. What were you thinking? And it's like, how am I going to do this? And I was kind of given an opportunity to get hard on myself, especially for the money that I spent on it. And I recognized it when it was coming in, and I recognized that it's like I had a choice to go deep into the judgment of it, or, you know, letting it just, that trust that I did it for a reason. So, okay, I recognize this. So I asked the universe, and it's like, help me to see why I did it and what I need to do next with that. And then I just let it go. And I was doing this over a period of about 5 days. And, you know, money kind of comes in and you're just like, oh no, what am I doing? And don't go into the panic. It's like this choice I have. And I felt it really clear. And I would always bounce into where I would rather be and just let the universe prove to me that it will take care of itself. And then after about a week, a conversation started happening with Joe and I recognized that I received my answers bit by bit throughout the week. And in our conversation, they were all coming together, like all the pieces of the puzzle, all the answers to all my questions around this business platform, or, you know, this online platform. And I was like, holy, this is a great idea. I mean, I really like this. And it's like, I can do this. And this allows me to do this. And I felt really confident and good about my decision that I had made, and new ideas started opening up and started flowing through. And I felt that real understanding that there's this trust and knowing that the universe is responding to you and the questions that you're asking, but it's always not so literal in your face. But I definitely received throughout the week ingredients, you could say, to making the picture, you know, the pieces. And for everybody else, that they have this, everybody has this ability to ask and to receive. It's just that conditioning that we're in of how to ask. A lot of people don't know how to ask of the universe. They only know sort of, you know, that straightforward. It's just like, I want $100,000. You know, it's like, well, you want to know, you want your business to be successful, where you can earn that on a yearly, for example. Like, you can go into more detail. It's so it's the little questions and the moment of the day that you're in that will really, when you can connect with where you're at in the moment, because there's a feeling that comes with it. And it's like, I didn't want to go into stress about money. I wanted to be here now, and I wanted to know that everything is going to be taken care of, because it always is in my world. And then, you know, worrying doesn't, I get to choose, and I choose to not worry. There's no need. I don't need to worry about it. So that was one thing that came up. And then when we were talking this morning, we were talking about prayer and the asking, and how we each have our own ways of asking of the universe, and to discover that and find that groove that works for you, and find the language to help yourself to open up your requests. Because it's like it activates this feeling inside of you, and this feeling is an energy, and the energy is connected to your outcome, your result, or your receiving of your answers, I believe. And how can you find your groove? That was one of our conversations.
Yeah, so she brought up Palapa, and she's talking about this new site, and she goes up and down, and I don't say anything. I just hold an energy. I always try to just hold the energy until she lets go all this stress and all this overthinking, because she just spins. And saying anything, it's when she's spinning doesn't get in there, so I got to wait for her when she's in the right place. And there was a lot of little sequences of things coming together, and it just started activating her. Somebody came over yesterday to help her to navigate Apple, because she just got this Apple computer she's never had before. So it's like navigating new things, and it's just triggering all these things. And she's starting to see the Palapa, how it's all bringing things together that could be our future with our business and stuff. So I was talking about that, and then she brought up prayer, and I was telling her, like, a lot of people are not really conscious of prayer. It's something that you practice, but if you can make a child really understand it at an early age, it's going to get really in their consciousness. Because if you can help a child to see their prayers and manifestations and things in these little things they do, and see it coming through and happening, they'll just actually activate it, and it'll just become a way of life and something that they do. In the natives, being little children brought around the sweat lodges and to the sun dances and that, they're constantly seeing us pray. They're constantly seeing how we use the pipes. They're constantly seeing how we put all these things together and how they're all that way. And you'll see a little child coming, like there's a last sun dance we went to, there was this little girl, I'd say she's maybe 5, 6 years old, and we're at the Sundance, and they do flesh offerings, and they take a needle and they poke and they cut little pieces of your skin off, and you give that to the universe as your prayers. It's your offering. Because we say the only thing we have is our bodies. So the one biggest sacrifice you can do is take something a little bit from your body and give it to the universe. So we're going up and we're doing the flesh offerings, and I'm standing in line.
But why does the universe want your flesh?
Well, it's just an offering. It's just energy, right? It's because it deteriorates. It goes back into the earth. Okay, but it's just the biggest sacrifice is giving something that you have, and it's a piece of you. So it's a part of this ceremony. And so I'm in the line and I'm waiting, and you got to stand on a buffalo skull, and you're in the
buffalo robe. It's the skin of the buffalo.
Or sorry, the buffalo, robe. So you stand there and you got to face the tree, and they give you a pipe, and there's a Sundance leader this side and Sundance leader this side. And so I'm standing there, and there's this little girl in the crowd, and I see her across the field over there, and I'm like, oh, she's going to come and give a flesh offering. And sure enough, she comes over, and everybody's letting her go in front. And so I get mine done, and I go back around, and I got this Band-Aid on, and I'm standing there and I'm talking, and I turn, and then I see that little girl go and stand on this, and this pipe is really big that she's got, like she's this tiny little girl, and she puts it on her belly, and she's like sort of to hold it up so she doesn't drop it, and she's focusing on the tree to do her offering, and she's trying to get them to take one from both sides, and they're trying to tell her no. It's like, this is going to be painful with that. And she's like really trying to get them, and they're like, they talk her into just one side. So they take this little offering, and she's standing there holding the pipe and praying, and she afterwards she gives the pipe, and she comes around and she goes to all these people, and she's like showing them all that she had done this, right? And I'm like, wow, like the energy that came off that kid was like massive, huge. Like her prayers and her belief in what she was doing and why she did it. I'm not really sure. I didn't ask. It wasn't any business. So, but to see her literally to choose it on her own and just go over there, parents didn't say anything, and she did it, and she was so proud that she had done this, and that triggered some of the European boys, and they went over and they did theirs because they were from Denmark, and how they realized the bigness of this, and their prayers and their thoughts, how they changed things. So a prayer of how important, if you can make a child understand it and then see when they pray, how their prayers manifest and create and do things. And it just becomes a natural thing. It's not something that you have to force yourself to do. You just find it, and it's just a part of you, and you just naturally do it all the time.
Yeah.
So Cindy is thinking doing on Palapa or whatever, making a video, her way of praying, my way of praying, and trying to help people to see from different ways that we all have ways of praying, and finding that one that really feels good, and then you just manifest, create, and do things.
So a little now into a bigger teaching for you guys, because you understand that part. When you're asking for so creator's energy to fill you, it's like, because Joe did this, I felt an energy on my chest. It's like I was coughing. And then it's like, why am I coughing? I don't feel like I need to cough. And it's like, because there's an energy on my chest that doesn't belong, and it needs to blow off of me. And so my physical body does a reaction of coughing. So Joe says, close your eyes, go inside, and ask for the masters that are your teacher to come in and show you, and ask them to go inside you. And I was like, so then he comes over and he puts his hands on either side of me, and he's like, sort of guiding me in what to ask of them. And as I'm asking them, he said afterwards, he can tell my energy's opening up because it pushes his hands out to go further. And I ask in my prayers all the time that Creator's energy fills me, and I invite it in, and he'll say often, invite them in. And I do appreciate knowing what you're inviting in and being specific about that, because there's many masters, many teachers and avatars, and but then you have a soul family and a soul group. Your soul knows who they are, and they know who your soul is. You can ask for your teacher to come in and start working with you, either in your dream time or in your day, in your thoughts, or to have an experience to meet your teacher in person.
The thing is, I try to get Cindy to understand is you feel an energy. When you connect with that master teacher, it's like the sun radiating the warmth on you. And you feel like you go outside, say you're in a really cold place, and you go out in the sun and you sit for a bit, and you start feeling that energy, and you start feeling really good, and you start warming up and everything. When you connect with your teachers and guides that know your future and have your answers, and they're trying to help you to be successful, there's an energy that comes in, and it comes in the higher heart, the heart chakra, it activates different things. So I keep trying to get Cindy to understand this, like feel this energy, become really, really aware of it. So whenever you're linking and you need answers, it's like, okay, I need my teacher. This is the questions I'm asking, and this is what's going on. And for me, it automatically just blows open. It's like this big energy opens, and then I just start streaming stuff. And if I'm going to meet a person that I need to help her do something, it's like as I'm going there, this energy comes, and I'm like, oh, okay, there's something going to happen. And then I just start receiving stuff. And then I'll do something with a person, and then it just shuts off, and it just automatically does this. It's like they already know what I need, how I'm going to do something. And this energy just comes in, and I feel it, and I'm just like, oh, and I just open up to it and all this energy. So this morning I was trying to get her to understand, like, just ask for your teachers and guides. Once they know, because there's a link with you to them on some kind of energy level, it automatically triggers them, and then they just start streaming energy to you. So you're allowing that energy to come in and fill you, because there's answers, there's things. And I'm trying to get her to really feel this, so she becomes so comfortable with it. Whenever this being is sending energy, it's not like, oh, there's energy coming, and like, what is this? Where is it? Why is it? And she's like, oh, I know this energy, and there's all her answers. Whatever she's going to be doing, it's just there, and it's just clear. So after we had done that, she was sitting there, and she says she closed her eyes, and she just saw this blue energy, or whatever it was.
It's like a light blue energy coming in. So to me, that sense, or that even that visual, felt different than when I asked for the dazzling white light of Creator to come in. So it had a bit of a difference to it to me.
Mm-hmm. And that's where we say grandmothers and grandfathers, because they are teachers. And like I say, different things will come in different ways. Everybody most people are becoming more and more conscious of orbs. And once they link with it, they receive and get knowledge. In our ceremonies, that happens a lot. So,
but you can have an experience with your guide, and it can manifest in a physical form, not just an orb. And you can ask, if you want, to have that experience for yourself, to know what it feels like when your guide, your teacher comes in. And if there's a different frequency that you need to meet so that you can have that experience, ask. ask that your energy raises to the vibration to match your teacher, and that you can have that one-on-one experience if this is something that you want.
Yeah, and basically the easiest way is saying if they can reveal themselves, because they know when and how. So it's like, can you reveal yourself to me? Can you maybe give me a name or something that comes through? And once I connect with that, it's going to open up something, and they will find a way to do this at the right moment in time, and they always choose it. So.
And I like how that's more an open question, where you're not controlling who it is that you're going to see, as it is, it's like the one that knows me, the one that can help me, my soul group, or something to that effect. That's some specifics, without saying that it is Archangel Michael or Raphael that you want to meet. It's like, you know, there's many, what they say, many masters that are out there, like any. So you want to go to the highest that you can go, you know, for your soul, and you invite those kinds of questions into your thought process when you're requesting of this. And I've noticed that people don't seem to know how to ask for this. They just feel that it should just happen. And I get that it can just happen, because that internal knowing has already programmed that growth process to take place. But if there's some way that it can speed up, you can also request that they speed things up for you so that you can have this experience, if that is something you feel like.
Yeah, because with Cindy, I was telling her when I was young, I had many experiences, and I didn't have names or things to connect them to.
Yeah.
I just had experiences. So I told her I told her the story a few times where I was going for a picnic, me and my cousin and a friend.
Good one.
And it was about 2 o'clock in the morning back in the Arctic, and the sun isn't down. It's like daytime. So we go across the river and we're walking through this path, and I was maybe 50 yards behind them. I was just taking my time, and I was, you know, thinking a lot of thoughts and stuff. And here we're going, and I hear this snap, and it was like a gun went off, and I'm just like, whoa. And I saw my cousin had grabbed a branch, and he just sort of wrenched it back, and it just popped. And it just startled me, because it was like this loudest noise. And I just sort of stopped and looked, and they kept walking. And I came along and I put my hand onto the branch, and all of a sudden this energy came in, and I was standing there, and I just became so conscious of everything. I could feel everything, and I wanted to cry, I wanted to laugh, and this energy was just coming, and I was standing there, and I was like, whoa, what is this? It's like I had no name. I didn't have a person to teach me or make me understand it. And it was so fast, and I put my head down because tears were just streaming out, but I wanted to bust out laughing. And I was feeling like thousands and thousands of things going on. It's like if I put my mind anywhere, I could become conscious and aware of anything on the earth or whatever was going to go on. And then I let go of the branch, and everything shut down. And my friend and my cousin, they stopped and they turned around. They're quite a ways ahead, and they're like, hey, what's wrong with you? And my head was down because I didn't want them to see the tears coming out. And I was like, oh, I got some dirt in my eyes, and I'm wiping my eyes, trying to stop the tears. And I was like, yeah, this dirt just got blown up. And I just gave them this excuse because I didn't want to explain this weird thing, because at times they were very afraid. And if I had said I experienced this, that would set them off, because here we are walking off in the woods, and this has happened to me. And then they just think I was absolutely crazy anyway. So it was easier just to say something, and then finally it stopped the tears coming out, and I dried my eyes, and then I caught up with them, and we had our picnic and went back. But that was something that spontaneously happened. I didn't understand. And it took me over 30 years of connecting all kinds of things and going into ceremonies where things just happened. And it took me time to take all the pieces of the puzzles and put them all together. And now at this age, I'm realizing the universe was doing all these things in different teachers and that. And I'm able to piece it more and more and more together. And I don't know what it's all about, but it feels like somewhere I'm either going to be teaching people this, or I'm going to be holding energy so people can step safely into it, feel it, realize what it is, and allow it to integrate with them. Because there's something in it, and I'm not fully sure what it's all about yet.
Even just the way that Joe just explained why he thinks it might be, I haven't heard him put those words together. And Joe's been asking, I hear him asking, he's just like, when are you going to activate what I know? And is like, when are you going to bring it all in together? And he has asked for meeting the other spiritual people that know this energy. And I've heard him ask that many times because he's had some pretty big experience he's talked about. And we just did a clearing for a woman recently, and she had no name for her experiences. And then she just started sharing them. And Joe's standing there nodding, and he's just like, yes, those are these, and this is that. And he's like, I've been asking to meet people like you. And I heard him say that, and I went, oh my God, he has been. And here's one person, and she's had no idea even if it was safe or good or right or wrong. How did she find us, is another question too. What drew her to Joe for answers? It's like, that there's something bigger going on. She's got a question, the universe is responding. She shares something to somebody, and somebody says, you should go see Joe. And it all works itself out. And when you're just in that flow, knowing you're going to receive your answers, that the day will come when I will meet my teacher, and
yeah, she said that since she was 17, she's been seeing things and she's not sure if she's crazy or, and she'd look up in the sky and she'd see images. 2 years before she got pregnant, she saw a face in the sky of this little girl and some other images. And then two years later, she has her baby, and it's the exact face she saw in the sky 2 years before. And she gets a lot of this. She gets visions. She saw a book of Yogananda's teachings, and she picked it up, and her husband read it. And after they read it, there was energy radiating off this book. So she has all these different experiences, and she has no names or ways of doing this. And I'm like, I understand that, because stuff like that has happened to me throughout my life. So I'm like, no, you're not crazy. I'm like, start writing things down. If you see something going on, write it down and just record it and just say, okay, prove this to me. And however they prove it to you, it'll get shown. And then by recording it, you can always look back and say, oh, wow, I remember this. And you can look at it and go, wow, that's what they showed me. So she can understand that she has this gift that she's carrying inside her, and somewhere at the right time, she'll understand it all. And it feels like she's going to wake up really fast, because when I was working on her, there was a lot of stuff they were showing me, and I was just holding space and just clearing off what I needed to clear. And so it's really nice to meet somebody that I don't have to explain stuff to. They just automatically have these experiences. And I find it very interesting how the universe connected us with Zarina, and then we connected with Ian, other people like you, because I've opened up and shared a lot of different things. I spent most of my life not telling people.
Yeah.
Like sometimes there's things I haven't even told Cindy, and sometimes I'm sitting there and I will start talking. She's like, you never told me that before. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, there's many, many things. And there's times where the universe came in and did things, and it scared me. Like, it scared me so bad because I wasn't sure, and I distorted things they told me and they showed me. So I went into my humanness, and I just went off the Richter scale and was like, they got it in for me finally. I did something wrong. They're going to take me out. and I was really afraid. I'd go to people, and they all thought I was nuts. They didn't understand. Mm-hmm. And then later I would go back and I'd start slowing things down and looking at what they said. And I'm like, oh, now I understand. And then I let that fear go. And there's one time I thought I broke some universal law, and the spirit said, we're going to come back. And when we do, I thought they were going to take me off the planet because somehow I must have harmed people or done something really wrong. And they were, for about 3 hours, are channeling and telling me stuff. And I was just shaking because I'd never had that experience before. When they left, they said, we will be back. And I'm like, holy crap, I did something really bad for a month. I was just trembling around, just terrified, right? Everywhere I went, I heard a strange noise. I'm like, after a month, I'm like, oh, my mind is doing something. And then finally I grounded and I was like, okay, they gave me something. And when the time is, they're going to come and they're going to open it up so I can do something with it. But at the time, my mind just went right off ballistic when they said, we will be back. And I'm just like, whoa, I was afraid. Like for a month, I was scared. But I had nobody to give me answers. They couldn't see it. They just thought I was crazy.
Cindy, what have you not shared with us that is approaching the right time to be shared?
What have you not shared with us that's approaching the time to be shared?
I knew you would ask.
I don't know how to answer that question, but I have been having experiences of knowledge of the concept of light energies, light frequency, it being creators' energy. And I've noticed it from asking for the dazzling white light to be around me, to know what it feels like. And then I usually just let that go and I don't focus on it, but I've been requesting it every night and every morning for the most part. And I'm getting all kinds of material crossing my awareness on Facebook, on books that I'm reading and randomly picking up, and then a YouTube video I watch and they're talking about connecting with that energy and how it's a light and it's got all this wisdom and this love and compassion, and they're all overlapping each other. They're all saying the same thing, and I'm feeling it building inside of me. I feel there is something happening.
I know since me and Cindy have been together, they have given her different little visions and things, but she didn't really fully understand. But I think they're going to start coming up in her consciousness. She's going to become more aware of things. It's like, I already know this. And there's a inner knowing. It's inside. And it's like, I think she's ready to step in and own that, because the universe doesn't force you. They allow you to choose it. Like, choose to be Muscapios or whatever language you need is a servant for God and for people in the earth in the future. And it's something that you carry inside, and when that opens, then you have access to it all. It's like there's so many things that come in. And even you, Zarina, it doesn't take much for you. Once you tap in, it's just like that day we were meditating and all the native spirits came in and they're all there, and there's different teachers and different things. And you just plug in, and somewhere all these experiences, something's going to open inside you. It's like opening the book, or, and all this knowledge, whatever you need to know, you don't have to turn to a page. Just like you just absorb it out of the book and you have all the answers. You see, all these spirits will guide, teach, and show you things, and they're all there. And it's just understanding and accepting them to come in until, like I say, you integrate it. It all becomes a part of you. It's like breathing and living it. It's just an energy that flows in and out, and it fills all the spaces. It tracks everybody and everything, and it just keeps manifesting. So if you need to connect to Saint Germain or anything, it's just automatic. That energy opens. You're on his level. He streams to whatever. If you need to connect to Lantos or Sananda or whoever, once you put your mind there, you're just automatically connected and you receive, and the energy just flows out of you, and it just changes things, everything around.
And I feel like everyone in this world is shifting right now. I said it this morning to Joe, and it's like, before, people were looking for the shamans because that was the only word that they knew how to connect with someone who had more knowledge in the spiritual realm, let's say. And I'm like, but I don't feel that they're looking for the shamans anymore, because there's been quite a distortion in shamans and power over the last 10 years especially. People just want the truth. People want to know higher knowledge in the truth source, and people that are just honestly connected. It's like there's some kind of switch that's happening to how they searched for knowledge, and it's moving into something that's just a lot bigger, a lot more grounded, a lot more real, and not so New agey, I guess.
Yeah, and this is where the people who hold the light or that connection is you invite things. I'm always inviting, and usually when I invite, like lots of things happen very quickly. And the universe usually does that to show me I'm on my path and things are opening up and more things are happening and what is streaming in and out, and trying to hold that space for Cindy too, so she still feels comfortable to shifting up, because she's realizing as her energy comes up, mine's going to go higher, and as mine goes higher, things will go faster for her. So it's like coming up and literally being on that plane she was meant to be, and just feeling okay with all this stuff going on and knowing this is her journey. It's not something trying to trick her or do things, and you have to understand that. So I keep telling her, just believe in the light, just keep seeking the good things, don't go into those other thoughts because they'll pull you this way or that way and that. And if you just keep focusing on this, it's just gonna lift you into that higher plane, like a hot air balloon, I guess, one way of using it.
I know, Joe, that you call spirits the grandmothers and grandfathers, but are these actual souls of people, or are these spirits responsible for certain energies, like accumulation of a certain energy?
In the natives, we don't distinguish them by names. So the only thing we associate them to is some very, very loving, kind old person who is so wise, and whatever they do just changes and brings love and compassion and all these good things into your life. And like I say, there's many, many angelic beings, teachers, guides, gurus, masters, and that. We just class them as grandfathers and grandmothers. We don't, because usually if you connect with Cryon says there's millions of spirits here with me and we are Cryon. They don't associate with different names. They're just a big group of beings that are helping people. And when we're born, we have this big gang that are around us. And when we start recognizing, we start tapping in, and they start coming down. They start doing things. They start presenting and opening. They start manifesting. Whatever it is, they're changing and evolving our lives. So they're always around us. And they are sort of anonymous. They like being anonymous because they just know the energy is creator, and however they're using that energy to assist us to evolve and get there. So we're on an equal plane. They're not higher, they're not lower. We're all in that one energy, and we're just uniting in a bigger group. So it's anonymous. So they don't say you have to call me this or you have to do this or worship me. It's just I'm here to help you. So however they're doing, they're not saying, oh yeah, I want to glory or this and that. So in the native way, it's just generic. That's why we use grandmother, grandfather.
So you can't discern whether a spirit has been incarnated as a soul ever?
You can do that through their assistance. There's lots of different things. Like I say, they're the ones who want to reveal things. Mm-hmm. They talk about the 144,000 masters that are on the planet. There are beings here that are highly evolved, they're walking on the planet, and they're the leaders and they're holding lights. And then there's other people that are connected to them. I always say you got your soul family. And I see and know that somehow you're a part of something big, Zarina. I don't know how. It's none of my business. I can't look into that, because if I rip it open and other people will look, and I reveal things, and you'll attract things that you don't need to. So when it's right, they will open, show you everything, and you will see it all and know it all. So there are things that want to get in and look at things. That's why I'm very careful what I reveal with people, because they're sorcerers or people that are always trying to alter and look in and get into energies and do things. And I try to protect everybody as the best I can. Your angels, your guides, your universal beings know everything of who you are when you're in that light and you're working and you're doing everything to evolve this planet. You're on that path. And so I don't have a right to cross way into that. That's why I'm very careful, even meditations, sometimes what I'm saying and doing, because I know it opens doors and it makes things happen with the prayers and stuff like that. Even with Cindy, I try to be very careful that I don't tell her something way ahead of time, because then her mind is focusing on that and it could bring it through and open it ahead of time. And that's where people get into difficulties. You go to a really good psychic and they see things 5, 6 years ahead of you and they tell you this stuff and they say, oh yeah, in 6 months this is going to happen. So in 6 months you're waiting, it doesn't happen. And then and then in 6 years time, all of a sudden, bam, it opens up, everything is there. And they didn't know it was 6 months, but they opened an energy, and there's an energy. And like I say, if a person really understands, they can look in. There was a friend connected with me and Cindy, and he saw stuff in my future, and he was always asking me, he's like, where is this? Where is that? And he's like, I want to see it so I can tell you. And I'm like, why? Don't you think I can see it? It's like, I don't really need. And he would tell me all kinds of things. Like one time he says, when you're on this property and there's all this energy and you're doing all this stuff and it's in the future and it's you and Cindy's, I'm going to take all my stuff and move on your property. And I'm like, but I don't see you there. I don't think you got permission to be there. But in his mind, he made that up because he saw my future. Somehow he got a glimpse of something, and he kept on. And he would try to provoke me into telling him things to see if I would open it bigger so he can look deeper into it. And I'm like, no. And he would constantly telling me how he was going to be there doing things. And I'm like, but every time I ask, I don't see you there, but you're trying to tell me this. And the universe is telling me no, and there's something different. So I don't know what opened it, but it was able to open. And there are people who have glimpsed things in my future, and they're trying to understand it because they've seen things they have no idea, and it's the universe's. And when I'm there, it's all going to be there, and it's already blessed. It's not something I'm going to create or manifest. It's just a gift from the universe for the world.
Joe's smudge is about to burn out. It's been burning for a bit here.
Yeah.
Oh, we're good. And so Cindy on that too.
Mm-hmm.